and welcome. I'm Reader David Diltz, and this is Latter-day Scriptures in a Year in roughly chronological order, where we invite you to join us as we read every verse of our Latter-day Scriptures in the Bible, Book of Mormon, Doctrine and Covenants, and Pearl of Great Price, one day at a time over 365 days. Ponder with us some sacred stories about God touching the lives of His children in the ancient and recent past, and what those stories can teach us about our challenges today. We invite you to enjoy the blessings of daily Scripture study. Today we get to talk about Moses expounding on the law and explain the purpose of an unusual ritual to be done when a murderer cannot be identified. You can download your own free copy of the daily reading plan schedule I'm following from my internet website at latterdayScripturesInAYear.org. An internet copy of these scriptures from which I am reading is also available for free at churchofjesuschrist.org/study/scriptures. This is day 63, Deuteronomy 17 through 21. Rules for kings, false gods, fair trials, making war, and spouses. Scripture references are the Holy Bible, Old Testament, Deuteronomy, chapters 17 through 21. Deuteronomy is part of the Bible's law books section where God explains His laws and instructions for us. The law section is the 5 books of Moses, also called the Torah or Pentateuch. The time period is 1406 before Christ. Places involved are the plains of Moab near Shittim in modern-day Jordan. The author who wrote these scriptures is Moses, as inspired by God. The art for this episode is by photographer of the National Geographic magazine, March 1914. The title is An Arabian Jew in Yemen. Permission is public domain, expired copyright. Warning, some of today's verses are on subjects that are violent or explicit and may not be appropriate for small children. Come, listen to the Word of God. The Holy Bible, King James Version, Old Testament, the 5th book of Moses called Deuteronomy, chapters 17 through 21. Deuteronomy, chapter 17. Those who worship false gods will be put to death. Priests and judges are to determine the hard cases. Kings are not to acquire horses, wives, or gold for themselves. The king must study the laws of God daily. Verse 1. Thou shalt not sacrifice unto the Lord thy God any bullock or sheep wherein is blemish, or any evil favoredness, for this is an abomination unto the Lord thy God. If there be found among you within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, man or woman that hath wrought wickedness in the sight of the Lord thy God, in transgressing his covenant, and hath gone and served other gods and worshipped them, either the sun or the moon or any of the host of heaven, which I have not commanded, and it be told thee, and thou hast heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it is true, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought in Israel, then shalt thou bring forth that man or that woman which have committed that wicked thing unto thy gates, even that man or that woman, and shalt stone them with stones till they die. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death, but at the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death. The hands of the witnesses shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterward the hands of all the people, so that thou shalt put the evil away from among you. If there arise a matter too hard for thee in judgment between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, being matters of controversy within thy gates, then shalt thou arise and get thee up into the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt come unto the priests the Levites, and unto the judge that shall be in those days, and inquire, and they shall shew thee the sentence of judgment. And thou shalt do according to the sentence, which they of that place which the Lord shall choose shall shew thee. And thou shalt observe to do according to all that they inform thee, according to the sentence of the law which they shall teach thee, and according to the judgment which they shall tell thee. Thou shalt do. Thou shalt not decline from the sentence which they shall shew thee, to the right hand nor to the left. And the man that will do presumptuously, and will not hearken unto the priest that standeth to minister there before the Lord thy God, or unto the judge, even that man shall die, and thou shalt put away the evil from Israel. And all the people shall hear, and fear, and do no more presumptuously. When thou art come unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shalt possess it, and shalt dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. But he shall not multiply horses unto himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. Forasmuch as the Lord hath said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away, neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver or gold. And it shall be, when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the priests the Levites. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes, to do them, that his heart will not be lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment, to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel. End of Deuteronomy chapter 17. Deuteronomy chapter 18. How priests are supported, divination, spiritualism, and the like are abominations. A prophet, Christ, will arise like unto Moses. Verse 1. The priests and the Levites and the tribe of Levi shall have no part nor inheritance with Israel. They shall eat of the offerings of the Lord made by fire, and his inheritance. Therefore shall they have no inheritance among their brethren. The Lord is their inheritance, as he hath said unto them. And this shall be the priest's due from the people, from them that offer a sacrifice, whether it be an ox or sheep, and they shall give unto the priest the shoulder, and the 2 cheeks, and the maw. And the first fruit also of thy corn, of thy wine, and of thy oil, and the first of the fleece of thy sheep, shalt thou give him. For the Lord thy God hath chosen him out of all thy tribes, to stand to minister in the name of the Lord, him and his sons forever. And if a Levite come from any of thy gates out of all Israel, where he sojourned, and come with all the desire of his mind to the place which the Lord shall choose, then he shall minister in the name of the Lord his God, as all his brethren the Levites do, which stand there before the Lord. They shall have like portions to eat, beside that which cometh of the sale of his patrimony. When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you any one that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord, and because of these abominations the Lord thy God doth drive them out from before thee. Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God. For these nations which thou shalt possess hearkened unto observers of times, and unto diviners. But as for thee, the Lord thy God shall not suffer thee so to do. The Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me, unto him ye shall hearken, according to all that thou desirest of the Lord thy God in Horeb, in the day of the assembly, saying, Let me not hear again the voice of the Lord my God, neither let me see this great fire any more, that I die not. And the Lord said unto me, They have well spoken that which they have spoken. I will raise up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass, that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. And if thou say in thine heart, How shall we know the word which the Lord hath not spoken? When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord hath not spoken. but the prophet hath spoken it presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of him. End of Deuteronomy chapter 18. Deuteronomy chapter 19. The cities of refuge are appointed for cases of manslaughter. Murderers will be put to death. 2 or 3 witnesses are required in court cases. False witnesses will be punished. Verse 1. When the Lord thy God hath cut off the nations whose land the Lord thy God giveth thee, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their cities and in their houses, thou shalt prepare 3 cities for thee in the midst of thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it. Thou shalt prepare thee a way, and divide the coasts of thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee to inherit, into 3 parts, and every slayer may flee thither. This is the case of the slayer which shall flee thither, that they may live. Whoso killeth his neighbor ignorantly, whom he hateth not in the past time, as when a man goeth into the wood with his neighbor to hew wood, and his hand fetcheth a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slippeth off the helve, and lighteth upon his neighbor, that he die, he shall flee unto one of those cities, and live, lest the avenger of the blood pursue the slayer, while his heart is hot, and overtake him, because his way is long, and slay him, whereas he was not worthy of death, insomuch as he hated him not in past time. Wherefore I command thee, saying, Thou shalt separate 3 cities for thee. And if the Lord thy God enlarge thy coast, as he hath sworn unto thy fathers, and give thee all the land which he promised to give unto thy fathers, if thou shalt keep all these commandments to do them, which I command thee this day, to love the Lord thy God, and to walk ever in his ways, then shalt thou add 3 cities more for thee, besides these 3, that innocent blood be not shed in thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance, and so blood be upon thee. But if any man hate his neighbor, and lie in wait for him, and rise up against him, and smite him mortally, that he die, and fleeth into one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and fetch him thence, and deliver him unto the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. Thine eyes shall not pity him, but thou shalt put away the guilt of innocent blood from Israel, that it may go well with thee. Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it. 1 witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity, or for any sin. In any sin that he sinneth, at the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses, shall the matter be established. If a false witness rise up against any man, to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men, between whom the controversy is, shall stand before the Lord, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition. And behold, if the witness be a false witness, and hath testified falsely against his brother, then shalt ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shalt thou put the evil away from among you. And those which remain shall hear, and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you. And thine eye shall not pity, but life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. End of Deuteronomy chapter 19. Deuteronomy chapter 20. Laws are revealed for selecting soldiers and making war. Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites will be utterly destroyed. Verse 1. When thou goest out to battle against thine enemies, and seest horses and chariots and a people more than thou, be not afraid of them, for the Lord thy God is with thee, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be, when ye are come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Israel, ye approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint, fear not, and do not tremble, neither be ye terrified because of them. For the Lord your God is he that goeth with you, to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. And the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, What man is there that hath built a new house, and hath not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it. And what man is he that hath planted a vineyard, and hath not yet eaten of it? Let him also go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man eat of it. And what man is there that hath betrothed a wife, and hath not taken her? Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in battle, and another man take her. And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, What man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's heart faint, as well as his heart. And it shall be, when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people, that they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people. When thou comest nigh unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it. And it shall be, if it make thee answer of peace, and open unto thee, then it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto thee, and they shall serve thee. And if it will make no peace with thee, but will make war against thee, then thou shalt besiege it. And when the Lord thy God hath delivered it unto thine hands, thou shalt smite every male thereof with the edge of the sword. But the women and the little ones, and the cattle, and all that is in the city, even all the spoil thereof, shalt thou take unto thyself. And thou shalt eat the spoil of thine enemies, which the Lord thy God hath given thee. Thus shalt thou do unto all the cities which are very far off from thee, which are not of the cities of these nations, but of the cities of these people, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance. Thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth, but thou shalt utterly destroy them, namely, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee, that they teach you not to do after their abominations, which they have done unto their gods. So should ye sin against the Lord your God. When thou shalt besiege a city a long time, in making war against it to take it, thou shalt not destroy the trees thereof by forcing an axe against them, for thou mayest eat of them, and thou shalt not cut them down, for the tree of the field is man's life, to employ them in the siege. Only the trees which thou knowest that they be not trees for meat, thou shalt destroy and cut them down, and thou shalt build bulwarks against the city that maketh war with thee, until it be subdued. End of Deuteronomy chapter 20. Deuteronomy chapter 21. How amends are made for murders by unknown persons. Equity is required in dealing with wives and children. Stubborn and rebellious sons will be put to death. Verse 1. If one be found slain in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it, lying in the field, and it be not known who hath slain him, then thy elders and thy judges shall come forth, and they shall measure unto the cities which are round about him that is slain. And it shall be that the city which is next unto the slain man, even the elders of that city shall take an heifer which hath not been wrought with, and which hath not drawn in the yoke. And the elders of the city shall bring down the heifer unto a rough valley, which is neither eared nor sown, and shall strike off the heifer's neck there in the valley. And the priests and the sons of Levi shall come near, for them the Lord thy God hath chosen to minister unto him, and to bless the name of the Lord, and by their word shall every controversy and every stroke be tried. And all the elders of that city that are next unto the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer that is beheaded in the valley. And they shall answer and say, Our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen it. Be merciful, O Lord, unto thy people Israel, whom thou hast redeemed, and lay not innocent blood unto thy people of Israel's charge. And the blood shall be forgiven them. So shalt thou put away the guilt of innocent blood from among you, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of the Lord. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and the Lord thy God hath delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldst have her to thy wife, Then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails. And she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that thou shalt go in unto her, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whither she will. But thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be, when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the sons of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn, by giving him a double portion of all that he hath, for he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father, or the voice of his mother, or that, when they have chastened him, will not hearken unto them, then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him, and bring him out unto the elders of his city, and unto the gate of his place. And they shall say unto the elders of his city, This our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. And all the men of the city shall stone him with stones, that he die. So shalt thou put evil away from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear. And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and thou shalt hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is accursed of God, that thy land be not defiled, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance. End of Deuteronomy chapter 21. So what principles taught in today's reading could you do better at following in order to draw closer to God? Some reflections on today's reading. I think the main point here is that God's laws are to bring order out of chaos, build a better civilization, and nourish a hope for a better life. Types and shadows, parallels. We've got two a little bit unusual and interesting cases here. First, Torah presumes that God will be the only king for Israel, but it also at the same time anticipates Israel might decide to be like their neighbors and bow down to a mortal king. So in that case, God commanded in chapter 17, verse 16, the king should not multiply or accumulate weapons, that means horses for chariots, multiple wives, or wealth through excessive taxes. And second, chapter 17, 18 through 19 says the king should write himself a copy of this law, we think that means Deuteronomy, and read it every day. Second, chapter 21, verse 1 says, If one be found slain in thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it, lying in the field, and it be not known who hath slain him, unquote. This particular case shows that human murder is so serious it must be addressed. When the murderer cannot be determined, then the nearest town must take responsibility to clear their name. We cannot ignore this homicide pseudo-atonement by making a substitutionary execution of a heifer in the place of the unknown murderer. This was not a sacrifice or an offering. It was done by the lay people, not the priests. The corpse was not eaten, further showing it is not an offering. The killing of the heifer represents the vicarious execution of the unknown criminal. The cow is a symbolic substitute for the murderer. Killing the cow symbolizes the execution of the murderer. Nevertheless, it has some of the effect of an atoning sacrifice, a covering or wiping away for guilt. Alternatively, the ritual is a symbolic reenactment of the murder in an uninhabited place. thus transferring the guilt away from the human settlement and flushing it away in the running water. Chapter 21, verses 6 through 8 talks about the elders of the town washing their hands over the heifer substitute for the murderer as a way of proclaiming they are not guilty of shedding innocent blood. This reminds me of the New Testament story of Pilate washing his hands at the trial of Jesus for a similar purpose. Some highlights or points of interest. Chapter 17, verse 7 says, "So shall you put evil away from among you." That phrase, put the evil away, or put evil away, is used several times in these readings, and when it is used, it's almost always should be better translated as burn evil away. I think the idea of burning evil away is a drastic sterilizing of wounds of evil by fire, and is more vivid than just the plain old put it away language of our King James Version, and I like it a little bit better. Well, scholarly viewpoint, and these are all points made by Dennis Prager, who is certainly a scholar of the Torah. He says, notice the assumption of innocence in the Torah. Guilt had to be established beyond doubt by at least 2 witnesses. Presumption of innocence was a revolutionary concept for the time of Moses and evidence that God is the origin of these scriptures. Second, Torah teaches that occult magic is evil because it tends to corrode faith in the true God. Magic, witchcraft, sorcery, divination, casting spells, reading omens, and consulting the dead to learn about the future undermines the premise of God's sovereignty. God runs the world, and only God knows the future. Dennis Prager again points out that this is so radically different from prevailing belief systems at the time of Moses. How could this be Moses' idea? This must have come from God. Now, regarding occult practices, chapter 18, verse 13 says, "Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God." Dennis Prager says the Hebrew word translated here as perfect, tamim, has various translations. The same word is used in the Torah and describes Noah in Genesis chapter 6, verse 9. Many English translations prefer the word blameless rather than perfect. This is one of the few times that Dennis Prager differs with the King James Version translation, since there is no biblical word for perfect. Third, Dennis Prager again points out that God's enmity to the Canaanites was because of their evil practice of occult magic and associated human sacrifices, not because of their ethnicity. What are the modern applications of what we've read today? Well, imagine, for example, the good that would result if the U.S. president or our other political leaders copied Deuteronomy, or the U.S. Constitution for that matter, and read it every day. Some Bible definitions. Canaan, the name of the 4th son of Ham, Genesis 9, verse 22, or 10, verse 6, also used to denote the tribe inhabiting the lowland, hence the name, toward the Mediterranean coast of Palestine. Sometimes as a general name for all the non-Israelite inhabitants of the country west of Jordan, called by the Greeks Phoenicians. The Hebrew and Phoenician languages were almost identical, and the Phoenicians were great traders. Canaanite came to denote merchant. Definition of observer of times, a magician who predicted auspicious or inauspicious moments for scheduling important events, or who foretold the future based on when a person was born. Often an astrologer. Soothsayer, a diviner, one who professes to foretell the future. A sorcerer, one who foretells events by casting lots. A necromancer, someone who consults dead spirits in order to divine the future. Footnotes. Chapter 19, verse 21 points out, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, is not taken literally, at least not by the rabbis. They took this to mean a symbolic equal compensation. So instead of taking the person's eye or tooth, you would take money that would compensate them for the loss of that part of their body. But tomorrow's read will be Deuteronomy chapters 22 through 26, property, marriage, morals, sanitation, usury, and sacrifices. And we will finish up Moses' second of 3 discourses to Israel found in Deuteronomy. Thank you for listening. Now, go and be doers of the word, not just hearers. Put the word of God to good use through loving God and your neighbors. Harvest the blessings of a life oriented by Scripture principles. To grow in faith, also be prayerful, participate in worship services, and keep God's commandments. Although the days will come that heaven and earth shall pass away, yet my words shall not pass away, but all shall be fulfilled. Pearl of Great Price, Joseph Smith, Matthew, verse 35. This has been Latter-day Scriptures in a Year, Day 63, readings from Deuteronomy chapters 17 through 21. Subject matter, rules for kings, false gods, fair trials, making war, and spouses.